doing? Why are you doing this? What's wrong with you? Hey nerds, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a review on the show Ginny and Georgia. I feel like this is long overdue, but we're gonna talk about it right now. But before we get into that, I just want to thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. Now let's get into this. I have a lot to say about Ginny and Georgia. I have quite a bit. So if you don't know what this show is about, it follows our two main characters, Ginny and Georgia. We have Ginny, who is an intelligent, angsty, and awkward teenager, and her very young mom, Georgia, a blonde bombshell with a dark past. They moved to a town called Wellsbury, and it's literally like a living, breathing Norman Rockwell painting. And we see both Ginny and Georgia trying to make their own space in this town and to put down roots. There's drama, laughter, friendship, romance, betrayal, and a lot more on top of that. So that's like the basic rundown of the show, a little synopsis if you haven't seen it. Now if you have seen it, let's have a discussion. Let's everyone gather around the table because I got some things to share. I wanted to make this video in lieu of the new season coming out in June. Season 3 will be coming out in June. I got really excited and hyped up about the release of season 3 that I rewatched Ginny and Georgia twice. Once just because to feel it all over again, and then a second time to, take notes for this video and have a solid discussion about it. Let me start with the characters, okay? And there's quite a bit. There are a lot of characters. Now, most of these characters are very archetypal and stereotypical, so you're going to hear me use the word standard a lot, okay? I'll start with Georgia. So that is the young mom, the blonde bombshell with the dark past that I mentioned earlier. And she has had a rough go of it ever since she was a child. She came up in a broken home, addict for her mom, abusive stepdad. It wasn't a good time for her. She met her first love and first baby daddy, Zion, at the age of 15. I love Zion so much. I'll get to him in a minute though. This is not about Zion right now, it's about Georgia. Like I said, Zion is her first baby daddy, and she had Ginny when she was 15. And then she had her second child, Austin, with her second baby daddy named Gil. She had Austin at 21, I think, if I did the math correctly. Yeah, she had Austin around the age of 21, so she had both her kids really young. One thing about Georgia is she is super uber duper resourceful. Like, she will make a way out of no way, Lord, okay? And I will say she is a good mom, and I know she ain't perfect by any means. I say that because she doesn't make the best decisions all of the time, but she does take care of her kids no matter what. And truly, she does have a big heart. She cares. She does care. It may not lead her in the right direction all the time, but she does care. She's had to kill, steal, do whatever it took to keep those babies safe, okay? And she do it again. Now let's move on to Ginny. Ginny, she's a regular teenage girl. Well, as regular as it can get. She wants nothing more than to be her own person and nothing like her mom. Spoiler alert, that doesn't work. That doesn't pan out. I get she has teenage angst, but she is her mom's biggest hater for real. Like, baby, I get it. You never had a stable childhood and your mama kept secrets from you. But you do too much. You do entirely... Virginia, you do too much for me. And the main thing she kept saying throughout the entirety of the show, I'm nothing like my mom. Baby, you are Georgia made all the way damn over. That you are your mother. You are. You act just like that woman, okay? Then there's Austin. Baby Miller, I like to call him. So I think this is cute. I think I wanted to like point this detail out. So Zion, Georgia's first baby daddy and Ginny's dad, his last name is Miller. So she goes by Georgia Miller, even though she's been with people after him. And also, and of course, Ginny Miller, that's her full name because that's her dad. But Austin has a completely different dad, and his name is Austin Miller. I think that is so cute. I feel like she gave Zion, or she gave Austin Zion's last name because she truly does love that man, because she knows how good of a man Zion is. Austin's daddy, not so much, and I will get to that in a second. Let me not get ahead of myself. But we have Austin. He is such a sweet, kind boy, and he is obsessed with Harry Potter, as I imagine any kid his age to be. He's a lot like Georgia. He's got a super big heart. Moving on to Ginny's new friend group, we have Maxine, Abby, and Nora. I'll go one by one. So here's Maxine, twin, one of two, bright-eyed, bubbly, and quirky. She is just she's overwhelming at times, but she's adorable, I would say. She's our token queer character. Max is gay, and for some reason, I don't know if I'm the only one who feels this way, but Max is very millennial coded. I don't know if that's just me feeling that way, but I definitely feel like Max is super duper millennial coded. And she can be very annoying at times, but she's low-key the funniest character on this show, I will say. Then there's Abby. She's our standard fiery redhead, because who doesn't love that stereotype and that archetype, you know? Bitchy little thing, but she has her lovable moments. And Abby is going through it right now because her parents are going through a divorce, and she does what any teenage girl would do. She's acting out, honey. And then there's Nora. She's like the soft, girly one, you know, the kind of cutesy pootsy one. And to be honest, I feel like Nora's just kind of there. Like, she's just kind of there in the friend group. She's that friend that always talks about her boyfriend when she's just hanging out with her girls. She's that type of friend. And to be honest with you, no shade, but Nora has no backbone. But I will explain a little bit more on that later. Moving on to the next character though. There's Marcus, twin 2 of 2. This is Maxine's twin brother. Our standard Mr. Anti-Establishment character. He is our middle-class rich kid who is a pretentious, artsy asshole and rebels against the chains of society. That's who we're dealing with here. But in all seriousness, Marcus has more to him than meets the eye. He dealing with some demons. So yeah, if you saw the show, you know exactly what I'm talking about, but okay, let's move on. Then we have Hunter, our standard golden boy. He's smart, he's cute, he's funny, he's a lead guitarist in a band, honey. He all that. It's golden boy. Real quick, I want to address this. Sorry. His hair in season 1. What was happening in wardrobe? Who let this happen? No tea, no shade, no pink lemonade, but he looks like an episode character. This one specifically. I'm sorry. Let me. So my camera died when I was introducing Zion's character, and I'm kind of mad because he's my favorite. So I'll do it right here. So this is Zion. This is Georgia's first baby daddy and Ginny's daddy. Okay. Love this man. Love this man down. I am so in love with him for real, and it's not just because he is sorely handsome. Okay, back to the video. Zion is such an artistic hippie, but in the best way possible. This is where Ginny gets her brains from, I believe. Not to say that she doesn't get any from Georgia, but like her intellectual you know, level definitely gets it from Zion. Zion is so compassionate and understanding, and it just hits you right, you know, in the chest because he's so good. Gentle and suave. He can do no wrong in my eyes. And that voice. Talk about velvet. His voice is the personification of velvet. Let me stop flirting. The next character. We have Ellen here. This is Max and Marcus's mom. So you remember when I did my Read and Rouge on the Final Girl support group, and I was like doing my dream cast, and I said, I was talking about Danny. This is her. This is her. This is who I would put in that role, but that's a whole other video. Oh, go watch that, by the way, if you haven't watched it. Yeah. I'm about to get into all the side characters, and that was the start of them, starting with Ellen. So to another side character, here we go. Then we have Samantha. She's in that general group of friends that Mang hangs around. If you didn't know, Mang is Max, Abby, Nora, Ginny, Mang. And they have like this big group of friends. There's Samantha. This bit, sorry, I didn't mean to get, she is a bitchy, instigating ass type person. Oh, like every time she's on screen, like I just get irritated. My toes start itching. And Samantha, Then there's Brody, frat boy in training number 1. Then there's Press, frat boy training number 2. Press is at the same level as Samantha. Every time I see him, I just want to punch him in the face, but that's beside the point. Then we have Jordan, who is frat boy in training number 3, who is also Nora's boyfriend. Then there's Braysha. Okay, let's talk about Braysha. Braysha is one of the 7 black kids in this entire school, because, you know, it's predominantly white. And I don't like the way Braysha was written in season 1, and I'll tell you why. First season of the show, she was a complete stick in the mud. But I will say, in season 2, I like that she actually was able to have a personality other than being a stick in the mud. I'm glad that the writers and whoever else was involved actually made Braysha into a person. So I won't get too mad. Because she was just mad for stuff that, I mean, I'm not gonna say it didn't matter, but it wasn't that deep. Like, she was so pissed that Ginny went as Britney Spears. Like, she was like, oh, so that's what you chose? I was like, girl, it's Halloween. It's Halloween. Also, her wardrobe change. Oh, can we talk, wait, let's focus on this real quick. Season 1, I feel like none of Braysha's, outfits were flattering on her. And she was always wearing pink. Did anyone else notice that? Maybe that's like a signature color for Braysha. But in season 2, her outfits were more flattering and there were different variations of pinks and purples, and I love that. I'm like, oh, finally we're getting some personalization for Braysha. And we're bringing her more into the story. Love that. I don't know if that was a decision on the actress's part, but I digress. I went on a whole rant about one character. I'm sorry. Then we have Paul. He is the mayor of this little small town and Georgia's new love interest. Then there's Joe. Joe. He is the owner of this little cute, quaint cafe called Blue Farm. And he is like this kind of, he's not awkward, but he's kind of on the nerdy side, and he's also sweet and compassionate, I would say. I love Joe. And then there's Cynthia. She's our villain in this storyline. She's Georgia's op. And that's all the characters I feel like highlighting for real. So real quick, I want to do a short little season comparison, not anything too in-depth. And I will say I have more thoughts about season 2 than I did season 1. I just felt like there was more to season 2 than season 1. They were both great, but that's just how it came out of my brain. So season 1 felt very different, but in a good way. It was giving ABC teen sitcom, you know, very campy and lighthearted. That's what it felt like most of the time. Season 2 was definitely darker in my opinion. Not to say that season 1 wasn't, because you know we saw all of Georgia's flashbacks and then saw what Ginny was dealing with, but season 2 went deeper into the darkness. It was heavier. Also, did anyone else notice the change in Ginny's hair? And I can't put my finger on what exactly was different about it. Look, season 1, season 2. What is different? Does it look less fuller? Did the curls loosen or tighten? They look like they loosened a little bit. Or tighten. I don't know. Something, but you see what I'm talking about, right? It's different. Be quiet. Just to touch back on season 1, I think that season 1 did a great job of developing the characters and the story. Even with, what was it, 10 episodes, it did do a good job of pacing and taking its time, letting us get to know all of the characters that were involved. The subplots were good too, you know, with the PI and then everything else going on. It didn't feel overwhelming, but it was a nice mix to the main storyline. And also I like how each time we got more into the season, they delved deeper into Ginny's self-harm and showing the realism in that. So I appreciated that aspect of it. For season 2, when I was taking my notes, I had random spitfire thoughts that just came to mind, so I'm gonna just, you know, give them to you in that format. So when the scene where Ginny and Max in season 2 finally confront each other and they make up, I didn't like it. I felt like that needed to be more drawn out. I needed it to be more dramatic. These are teenage girls we're talking about. You need to up the ante. You need to up the ante. I feel like there could have been more to the whole group making up, you know, within those different scenes. There should have been more material there. That's just me though.
So I forgot to say this in the video, but I think it's because in the back of my mind, I already said it in a previous video. So I made a video talking about the best friend's brother trope, and I included Max and Ginny from this show because Max was doing too much. So long story short, I do think Max did too much. Max did too much when she found out about Marcus and Ginny sleeping together. Now, Ginny was in the wrong for lying to her about it and not telling her and keeping it a secret. But I feel like Max is such a supportive friend. If she just would have told Ginny from the jump, she may have been a little weirded out, but she would have been supportive. She would have been fine with it. But that whole shit where she was like, you know, trying to make life miserable for both Ginny and Abby, she was doing way too much for my liking. But yeah, I meant to put that in when I was talking about the fight. So back to the video.
Ginny was wrong as in season 2 for throwing up everything Georgia did back in her face. She's disrespectful and ungrateful at the same time. That's crazy. Using her government name in front of Paul, giving Paul that smoothie, trying to play little mind games. What are you doing? Why are you doing this? What's wrong with you? We all know Ginny is selfish. So it was really frustrating for her to not notice what was going on with Marcus in season 2. And I know that she was battling her own depression, you know, but even then, they never should have been together in the first place. They both had stuff going on and they did not need to be dating each other. I will say that I am proud of Cynthia for her 180. Okay, in season 2, that part where she saved Georgia from Gil in the stairwell, masterpiece. That's her being a girl's girl. Okay, because even though they had their problems and their issues and they had beef, she was like, oh no, I'm not gonna let this woman be abused, not on my watch. That's what you're supposed to do. Like, you know, help your sisters out. Help your sisters out. And that's exactly what she did. Good on you, Cynthia. Speaking of Cynthia, I do not feel that it was Georgia's place for her to off Tom like that. I understand why she did it, because I feel like she was trying to return the favor because Cynthia helped her. She was trying to help Cynthia. She knew Cynthia was barely holding on because Tom was barely holding on, so she wanted her to have that release. I get that, but that was not your place, Georgia, to let that man go like that, okay? You should have just let it happen on its own. So now I'm going to share like random thoughts that I just had throughout rewatching the show, like for the 5th time, and taking notes. These are not in no specific order or anything like that. These are just what came to mind as I was writing my notes down. I thought about, you know, what are my favorite parts from the show? My favorite parts are when Ginny gets humbled every single time. Those are my favorite parts. Let's talk about Max and Ginny's fight. Nora, you a hoe for real. Because during that whole like Max, Ginny, Marcus, Hunter debacle, you just went along with whatever Max told you to do. Nora, the liars, and you just went along. You didn't even stop and say, well, wait, I didn't get to say how I felt about the situation, you know, about my friend betraying my other friend. You just went along with what she said. Do you not have thoughts of your own? You ain't got no backbone. And speaking of that argument, I get why Abby, you know, did what she did during that argument, why she exposed Ginny. Because I would have exposed you too, because you didn't trust me enough to keep your secret, and I told you I wasn't gonna say nothing, and then you throw me under the bus, and I'm gonna throw you under the bus too. So if we want to expose people and shit, we can go there. I get it, Abby, I do. That was wrong, but I get it. Zion's mama, every time she came on the screen, it's the same thing with Samantha and Press. She had me f***ing heated. She always had her nose turned up at Georgia because of her background and her past and her upbringing. And even then, well into her adulthood with both of her kids, she's still disrespectful. And Zion, he'll like, you know, police be like, hey, that's enough. But you ain't doing enough for me. That is the mother of your child. Defend her a little bit harder. Defend her a little bit harder when it comes to your mama, because look, someone needs to sit her down. Someone needs to humble her next. Okay, now we all know this. This show has so many cringy eras and moments, and I'm sitting here and I can't believe that there was a time where I watched this with a straight face. Also, something else. Can we talk about how Georgia pulls nothing but fine men? Like, all of them are at the least conventionally attractive. Have you seen Zion? Have you seen Paul? Have you seen Joe? Now, Gil, even though he is an abusive asshole who deserves to like get ran over by a truck, he's like, I guess, he's still on the handsome side, but he ugly all the way around because he likes to put hands on women, but that's beside the point. I'm just saying, all the men in her life that are somewhat attracted to her or involved with her, they all fine or handsome at the least. I'm like, oh, she got it like that? She got it like that? Okay. Now, I said this already, and I know that we all know that Ginny is a brat. However, we're not gonna sit here and act like this girl wasn't going through some because she was. I think what's also important and what jumped out at me is the creator's effort at taking a stab at racial and social commentary. And I'm so glad that we were being constantly reminded of the duality of Ginny being biracial. You know, seeing how it both has its advantages and disadvantages. The scene where she's reading the comments under the video of Hunter singing her at Battle of the Bands and someone calling her an ugly half-breed. Oh my gosh, like that's a great example. You know, even Max acknowledged that that was a hateful thing to say, but she glossed over it within a second and saying, oh, that means you've made it, you have haters. From a racial commentary standpoint, that shows me that Max, who is this white privileged girl, she will never understand what Ginny goes through. She will never understand, she will never get it. And mind you, right before that happened, she asked Ginny, would it be like super racist if you were Scary Spice talking about costumes for Halloween? She asked Ginny to be Scary Spice. And she was like, would that be racist? Girl, Maxine, read the room. And then speaking more on the racial commentary, you know, when she's with her dad's side of the family, you can feel that Ginny feels that as if she is lacking or as if she's behind in some way. Because, you know, she grew up with her white mom and her white brother, so she really didn't have that cultural influence coming in from Zion's side, because Zion was on the move, you know, backpacking around the world as a photographer and writing his book. You know, he wasn't really in the picture like that. So yeah, she has a struggle with her identity as half black. So the Oppression Olympics scene, we all know what I'm talking about. That wasn't the best display in terms of this type of commentary, but I do see what it was trying to do. It just didn't execute it very well. Now listen, I don't think any minorities should compare their disadvantages. That's just not something you do. But this scene did show the pressures coming from both Asian culture and black culture. And then, you know, Hunter being half Asian and Ginny being half black, they kind of project their insecurities and shortcomings onto each other, and that's where the whole Oppression Olympics thing started going on, which turned into a very sticky situation. I feel like it could have been them having an understanding or seeing eye to eye instead of them comparing, well, I'm more oppressed than you. Maybe not, let's not do that. Also, when Ginny goes to therapy and she has a black therapist, let me tell you why. I feel if this was real life, if she had a white therapist, the therapist would be acting very accusatory towards Ginny. Because having a white therapist and her being half white and half black, you know, she's not going to fully understand her struggles. So I feel like that would have been where the accusatory element came into play. But I'm glad she has a black therapist who kind of sees the deeper level of what Ginny is going through. So yes, and how that's all connected. Literally any scene where Mr. Gittin is involved, like, that's a commentary all on its own. And listen, I have had teachers and professors just like Mr. Gittin, like my whole life. And the constant microaggressions he was throwing at this girl because she was a black girl, the only black girl in AP English, you know, undermining her intelligence, saying, oh, well, if you can't keep up, or if you know, what? What makes you think I can't keep up, sir? Hello? And then also not recognizing her academic achievements. You remember when he said only one person got a perfect score on the quiz, and it was Hunter, but she got her test back and she also had a perfect score. If that's not racist, then what is? Like, what? Hello? Mr. Gittin, ooh, that's who I wanted to punch. That's who I would love to punch. Oh my God. And then going back to like regular random thoughts, so in those first, like, what, 2 to 3 episodes in season 1, I couldn't stand how Abby was acting towards Ginny. And she was acting very overprotective and possessive of, you know, the original friend group, which I get it. There's a new bitch coming in and Max wants y'all to love her immediately. And you're like, we don't know this girl. I get that, but you was doing too much. And then throwing her under the bus when y'all was trying to get her to shoplift, that was low. Another random thought that I keep having, why the f did Ginny sleep with Marcus after 2 seconds of knowing him? I'll wait. I feel like we didn't spend enough time on that. Cause like, literally after 2 days of her being in the town, she slept with him. Ma'am. Another random thought that I had is Ginny is so lucky to have a mom like Georgia. She doesn't know how lucky she is. The second that Georgia saw Kenny on that bullshit with her daughter, she ended that. She said, cut that the f out. She ended that real quick. No questions asked. As she should, because what the f are you doing to my daughter? Going back to Ginny, I feel like Ginny deserves a better friend group. Like intellectually and culturally, none of them are on her level. None of them. And I hated when she had to dumb herself down in order to like fit in. I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all, actually. I want to talk a little bit about Abby because she did get a little of her own storyline. Other than, you know, her parents going through the divorce and her working through that, she has body image issues. So we saw her taping her legs in order for them to appear skinnier. And I hate that because like I didn't tape my legs, but I went through something at that same effect at that age too. And in the first season, we hear press call Abby whale legs, and then fast forward to season 2, he finds out that she's been taping her legs, and you can see the moment in his face where he realizes that he was responsible for that. Feel that guilt. Feel that guilt, you asshole. I really do love the arc of Joe and Georgia reuniting, you know? So I had a feeling that Georgia always knew who Joe was, and then it was revealed later that she been knew. She always knew. She never forgot about him or Wellsbury. But, you know, we saw them first meeting as kids at a rest stop. You got the glasses, a horse named Milkshake, and Don't Cry or Spill Condiments, and then having all those motifs throughout the show, it was bringing Joe closer and closer to be like, wait, that was you? And then when he finally came to the realization that she knew, she was like, why? He's like, why you keep playing with me? And I felt the same way, because like, it's one thing to be like, you know, friendly, flirtatious, but with Georgia, and it ain't friendly, let's be honest. She a flirt. Listen, Joe has done anything and everything for Georgia in this show, right? He can't say no to her. She is obviously with Paul. Joe knows that she's with Paul, and she ends up marrying this man. And it's like, you keep flirting, you keep sending me these mixed signals, and it's like, so what is this, you know? And I'm like, Georgia, just let this man be. I know you find the good in him, you see the good in him, and you want to stay attached to that because you saw it when y'all were first kids, and you keep seeing it as adults. But you have a man. You need to decide who you're going to be sleeping with, because you can't have all these fine men to yourself at your disposal. You got your baby daddy, the first one. You got Paul, who is like Mr. Golden Boy if he grew up, and you got Joe. You can't have them all. They all love you. They all love you. How lucky are you? But I'm just she needs to stop playing with Joe, for real. But yeah, those are my random thoughts. I know that was a long section, but it just kind of comes out like a faucet. Season 3, I don't know what this is going to be like. I feel like there's going to be a time jump. And I only say that because the actor for Austin, he got older, and he's literally taller than Ginny's actress. So I feel like there may be a time jump. I don't know where this is going to go at all. Like, I wonder if they're even going to be able to go back to Wellsbury. Is Paul still going to be with her after finding out all the stuff that, she told him all of what she did in season 2, and he still married her. But I'm just like, after this, like, is this going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back for him? Because he's been dealing with a lot, and you saw him arguing with his own daddy, and his dad was like, listen, probably saying, I told you so, or whatever. Girl, her whole reputation is in a trash can. And also, who snitched? Who snitched? Was it the PI? Because he did get a tip. Austin said he didn't snitch. Did Cynthia have cameras in her house and then she ended up snitching? Or what? Did Nick snitch? That's my main concern, is who the f snitched. But I can't wait to see what's going to happen in season 3. I'm excited. How many months we got? We got less than 4 months. I think this is a great show. Has it won any awards? Let me see. It's been nominated Primetime Emmys, so that's great. That's great. Oh yeah, hell yeah. It needs to win an award because I think this is a really good show. But overall, this is one of my comfort shows, and I've rewatched it a million times, as I said before. And I really can't wait to see how the story is going to continue. Hopefully they don't let us down with the writing, because y'all know how some of that stuff be. But yeah. So I'm done. That's my honest review and thoughts and opinions on the show, Ginny and Georgia. So that concludes our video for today. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. And if you made it all the way to the end of this video, comment a peach and subscribe if you want to. I'll see y'all on the next go around. Okay, bye.